Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Shadow Generation. So, ultimately, I make an oops by not doing the other part of Sunset Heights challenge missions. We'll come back to do them later. So, I didn't know you had to do all of them by the time you reach the end game, so I only do these sections here.
It's a commentary, not a let's play.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like I don't think any of us really care.
Just letting the audience know that's why we're not doing the other group.
I do. I'm leaving.
Right?
Well,
you
we'll
piece
get-
of shit! I thought we were friends.
HFC would never have done this. Fuck you guys.
What were you saying, Louis?
Yeah, we'll get to it in its own sweet time, is what we're saying. But like this this kind of level design is sort of what I hate about these sort of like not entirely full level kind of levels. Where
It
it's
does
just
look like something janked together in Mario Maker, yeah.
not even that, because Mario Maker levels kind of like they're based around the design style of a 2D Mario sprite-based game. So, you expect that sort of tile copy-paste kind of thing when you're going in, and your brain doesn't really catch on it like your leg in a bush full of burrs. But my brain catches on it on this here, where it's just the same blocks and spike balls in HD 3D.
Lewis, I would say what's funny is this. I think because it's accurate, it's fitting. This is for Sunset Heights because this really just feels like one of those 2D Forces extra levels in 3D.
Well,
so
yeah.
in that regard, I think it's very fitting.
I mean,
this is Sunset Heights.
You say Forces. Unleashed did this shit too,
Unleashed
like for its
and
extra
Generations.
act. Yeah,
And both of them did. It's just
I don't think Generations did it as much as Unleashed though. Like Unleashed was pretty like fucking rife with that shit, especially the
we don't talk about the DLC levels.
Yo, the adventure pack.
We
I was
all
about to
agreed.
mention that myself. Yeah,
we all agreed never to talk about those
like
levels.
everyone was like talking about for the sake of preservation, the adventure pack should be brought back. And I was like, no, I say Arrivederci, you little shit. I'm not gonna miss you because you sucked.
Well, I had fun with some of the adventure pack levels, but only some. And yes, I distinctly remember doing doing boost challenges that involve drifting through fucking oceans of these fucking copy-pasted spike balls. But like, at the same time, the thing about Shadow Generations is that it's like, it looks so good when you're in the main level. It looks actually as good as Sonic Unleashed did at the time.
No, this is definitely the best looking Sonic game I think they've ever made. By a wide margin. Even it's not particularly close. Because like, what's the next best one? Like
Sonic Unleashed, yes.
Unleashed, yeah.
Modded and on hardware 4 times stronger than what it was originally.
You don't need to mod it. It actually gets a strong performance bump by just being played on a modern Xbox.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's just like, oh yeah, we can finally run Crisis at.
That's my favorite fucking tidbit. That just I'm glad to be a part of this life where Unleashed was the world just wasn't ready for Unleashed when it came out in 2008.
Or maybe Sonic Unleashed was a shittily made game.
No, I mean both, but both can be true. But the fact of the matter is, we now live in a day and age where if you play Unleashed on a Series X, the game runs pretty perfectly. Like
Sega,
no hiccups.
no, Johnny, Sega were just ahead of their time. Sega were just like, it's gonna take 2 console generations, but at some point, Jungle Joyride will not be a PowerPoint presentation. We need to wait for 2 more Sega consoles to come out.
No, it's the same from Back to the Future where Marty still like, I guess you never heard that song before, but your kids are gonna love it or some other shit, but it's with Unleashed.
I guess, I shouldn't be talking considering that Banjo-Tooie finally runs at more than 4 frames per second on N64 for the Switch version. So you know what?
Well, isn't that just based off of the Rare Replay version?
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No, it's the N64 version.
Yeah,
Really?
The Bottles' son has the Donkey Kong plushie back in his hand, and there's a couple other minor things. It's like,
is it in widescreen?
It is in widescreen too. It's the first N64 game on that service to be in widescreen.
Why wasn't? I wonder why they didn't make. Because I know like Xbox Online, even before Rare Replay, Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie were in like widescreen, 4K and all that shit. I wonder why. I wonder if they'll go back and make Kazooie widescreen like Tooie
well,
is.
Banjo-Tooie was widescreen compatible on the N64. I don't know if Kazooie
Oh,
was.
okay, gotcha.
So
That's
if
so
Kazooie
strange.
wasn't, then
A few games were, because I think wasn't Donkey Kong 64
64 had widescreen
compatible
support.
as well?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how early widescreen TVs were rolled out for consumers, because like we're talking early mid 90s is when they started being marketed. It just took a while for it to become the norm.
I mean, TV, in general, TV technology gets cheaper and mass-produced quicker than I think most people and most companies realize, because that was part of the Wii. The Wii's problem was part of why they stuck with 480p was A, it's cheaper, and B, they didn't think that HD TVs would get as big as they did so quickly. And they'd be like, oh, we'll just keep it on standard resolution so that everybody can have it and it has the wider audience. When it turns out that in 4 years, everybody would have an HD TV anyway, so they really didn't lose anything. What the? Oh, this is the boss fight. Okay.
I'm going to say right off the bat, Clement mentioned music last time. This does not feel like a remix of what I'm made of. This just feels like they just re-recorded it to sound better. You know, it's like
the vocal samples are exactly the same, so I don't think they got Johnny Gioli back for this.
Well, it's weird because the Open Your Heart remix in Generations, Johnny Gioli did not record new audio. They just used the backing tracks as the main voice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just do that again here.
I don't get why they needed to subtitle Metal Overlord going brah.
Because it's funny. Also, for some reason, this is not Roger Craig Smith. In Sonic Heroes, Ryan Drummond voiced Neo Metal Sonic. For whatever, even though Roger Craig Smith voices Omega and Abraham Towers in this game, they didn't feel need to have him play Metal Sonic for some reason, which I don't fully understand, but whatever.
I like the callback to the "You Fake" headline. You fake hedgehog.
Fake news.
You're fake news, Shadow. Anyway, what were you saying?
I like the callback to the "You fake hedgehog" line, but it just makes me like, why are we fighting Metal Overlord in an oil refinery?
Yeah, this is not anything like the original fight at all.
No, you remember we fought Neo Metal Sonic right after the Final Fortress, was it?
Yeah.
Sonic Heroes.
Which was an airship.
From what I understand, this is meant to be like, obviously the airships have to raise from somewhere. This is like Eggman's shipyard, which is what although really this is just reused assets from the chemical plant level in Sonic Forces. But you know, we don't have to talk about that. It's fine.
I mean, yeah, I can sort of see it. I haven't played the game recently enough to be able to tell for sure, but I'd believe it.
But see, this is what I was getting at, though, about the dodging, forcing you a specific direction, is so that you have an easier time with scenarios like this, where in order to damage Metal Overlord, you have to use the dash to knock the missiles back at him. And I guess they thought that having the character automatically shift left and right removes some of the work for the player, but I think it wouldn't ask too much for the player to be able to hold left or right and do that shit yourself. I don't think that'd be asking.
Generally,
too much,
control freedom is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I like
one small touch. Oh, sorry, no, that's not there.
No, go ahead.
I'll say one small touch I like is that if you try using Chaos Control against him, he'll say that won't work on me. I've already mastered it, which goes back to Heroes when he copies Shadow's ability. So I really like that. As a nice little callback.
Oh yeah, that's right. Metal Overlord had this whole perfect cell thing going on, didn't he? Where he was like,
absolutely. I mean, this is part of Sonic Heroes just not giving a crap about its story at all. Like, there was never any point where, like, it used Shadow's data and it, like, he copied Chaos Control in an attack, or, like, needing...
he uses Chaos Control in the Supersonic fight, I think.
You know what? he certainly could, and I'll believe you, because I can't remember anything about that fight other than Tails and Knuckles don't get to be super because
honestly, the only thing that makes Metal Overlord like any better as a fight than Time Eater is that it's not as much of a visual clusterfuck. It's not a very good
pretty
fight.
Much. Well, let's be fair. Most of that era's Supersonic final boss fight as a giant monster, none of them were really good. You know, they all kind of they're either painfully easy like Perfect Chaos, or they're a clusterfuck like Solaris or Devil Doom. You know.
Well, I think Metal Overlord could be a bit confusing at first, but I think when you actually understand what you're supposed to be doing, I don't think it's that bad of a fight. It's certainly better than Devil Doom and Shadow.
Devil Doom and Shadow just took forever was the problem.
Or I felt like it could take forever, given,
You had to play for 8 minutes, so Eggman would be like, oh, actually, you're real Shadow, my bad.
LOL, my bad.
You had to play for 8 minutes, otherwise you didn't get that very important plot information.
I have no idea why the fuck they locked that tidbit behind 8 minutes of fucking playtime. Like, what the shit?
Does anything about that fight change if it takes that long? Like, at the
No, just Eggman will say that randomly. Oh yeah, by the way, you're real. Okay, bye.
Because like one thing, at least like with SA2, the background will change if the fight goes on too long. Like to the point where the sky starts to get red. As
you legit have 5 minutes to finish that fight.
Yeah, but. Like, and that's why you'll get more and more dialogue from all your friends as it goes, which I always thought was a cool part about that. Like, the fight itself is, like, kind of awkward, not terrible, but not, like, good.
I have a request for any modders listening in on this. For Shadow Generations, whenever you have a bit where you're, like, mashing the attack button, you're smacking the shit out of something, just replace it with, like, wet slaps from, like, smacking someone's skin. It's like... basically that, because that's like the first thing I immediately thought of when I saw Shadow just beating the
I have a different request. Take Jared Robotnik's model and put him in a bikini.
Oh god.
No, but you have to beat the game fast enough in order to unlock it.
Just like Metroid.
Yeah, just like Metroid.
The quicker you beat the game, you get a sexier picture.
Just like you never see Samus Aran and Jared Robotnik in the same place at the same time, and it really makes you think. Really makes you think.
I'm going to say, in terms of a character being able to defeat a supersonic boss fight unpowered, I think this is not as impressive as Sonic taking down Perfect Chaos.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. You just brought up a good point. Samus was a human who got alien blood put into her, which made her have powers beyond a normal member of her species. Okay.
Right.
And something tragic happened in her backstory to her family.
You're saying Samus is Shadow the Hedgehog?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. It's like, hold on, let me give you the cliff notes of this. I agree.
I love that image when Metal Overlord is holding the tank. It looks like he's holding a bazooka. And that Shadow. Like,
eat shit, Shadow.
Fuck you, asshole. And it's things like this where again like that having like watching a bunch of stuff and then having a very small QT is very reminiscent of Forces.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
And by the way, I tested it out. If you don't push anything during the QTE, nothing changes. He still kills him.
See, just like Forces, 0 out of 10, worst game ever made. Lame. At least, you know what? At least in Forces, if you press nothing, that snake will eat Sonic. Forces is better than Shadow Generations, confirmed. I will say, in terms of it's a small thing, but with the exception of one scene towards the end, all of the cutscene music tracks are just taken from either SA2 or Shadow the Hedgehog. And I can only assume it's because the music budget wasn't probably as big for this, which understandably, as other games, but there's only one new original cutscene music track.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, though, because they repurpose an SA2 track during a Shadow Maria conversation. It's very effective, if you ask me.
Which, to be fair, Shadow the Hedgehog reused a bunch of SA2 cutscene tracks anyway, so it's
yeah, that's true.
It's just in keeping with Shadow the Hedgehog. He gets stuffed in the cutscene music.
Shadow, we're going to the Ark, which means we're going too.
So that doesn't make any fucking sense, Maria. Chaos Spear.
What the
fuck? Now this is interesting. We get to see Gerald talking about Black Doom, and that whole mess, which we only ever found out in Shadow the Hedgehog, but never really explored. You know?
Meanwhile, every 10-year-old playing this game was like, what the fuck does Faustian mean? What were you saying?
I think it's a great scenario. I think it's a good idea to finally have, like, after all these years, all we've ever known is that Shadow's really bitter about Maria's death, and now finally we have a story where he gets to reunite with her after the tragedy, and it's like, that's such a cool premise for a story.
I like the idea that because of the time travel shenanigan, the Shadow's first response to this is, maybe I can change it, you know?
Yeah. And I also like that Maria gets to see a side of Shadow that she's never seen before, like this angry, bitter, vengeful side of him. Yeah.
I also like this is also the first time in a game they've specifically said that Maria had an illness. Because, like, before this, that was always just in, like, the instruction manuals or, like, lore behind the scenes. Unless the Japanese audio of SA2 said it, like, this is the first time in an English-speaking story they've flat out said, yeah, Maria's sick.
Yes. I want to say so.
Again,
yeah.
it's, yes, so I like that. I think it's...
Well, I mean, all right, hold on.
Dark Beginnings did, but that's...
Well, no, you said...
or
you mentioned the game specifically, right? All right, because I was going to mention... Like, did Sonic X go into it? Because I don't remember.
Again, probably the Japanese version did, but I don't think the 4Kids dub mentioned it at all.
Yeah.
It's... Again, I like the fact that they're finally... Because this is
there's continuity.
All about there's continuity.
I just like that there's continuity. Like, listen, like it was a bit ago, but when the Dark Beginnings cartoons were starting to make the rounds to promote this game, I popped my lid off when I saw the moon was actually fucking rocked.
The moon.
It's like holy shit. Like they actually they acknowledge and confirm that SA2 is still a thing and that the moon was fucking blown in half. And look how fucking cool it looks.
And it's in keeping with what, because for years Izuka has just said we're just seeing the other side of it, and we finally see the broken side of it. I mean, it's great.
It does.
And I love it.
It does kind of make sense. You'd think the blast that blew part of the moon off would set it spinning, you know.
Yeah, but you'd also see the molten lava breaking out from outside of it, or it would be moved out of its orbit and mess up tides for generations, or
Sonic generations.
I guess. To be fair, if, as we learned in Unleashed, if blowing up the actual fucking planet doesn't really ruin anything, destroying half the moon means nothing to this world. You know?
Really?
That is a good point. What was Shadow's memories of the planet being blown up? I'm off that day. Let me go get my nachos.
He was just sleeping in his cave. He felt a slight rumble. It was like, yeah, not my problem. And that's what Shadow did during Unleashed.